There's a lot of different styles in bluegrass music that I play. The one I actually prefer is, of course, bluegrass fiddle, but I play a little bit of three different styles. The old-time style, which is playing more single notes and more quarter notes, and uses more single bowing than the other styles do. This kind of gives the music sort of an old-time bouncy sound, kind of like what folk music plays. And then, of course, I do some country music I used to play. The first one I'd like to do is an old Irish tune called Angeline the Baker, and it fits real well into the folk style of music and the old-time music. There's a lot of different brands of fiddles on the market today. The one I use most of the time in my playing is an 1890 model German fiddle that is a copy of the Sanctus Seraphinus fiddle. I like that fiddle especially because it has a deep, mellow, rich tone on the bass strings, but yet is clear and loud on the top end, and that's what bluegrass kind of demands. It needs more sound from the instrument. Playing bluegrass demands more from your strings, so I use strings that's super sensitive. They're old-time fiddler line strings, and I was put onto them by Red Smiley and Don Reno's fiddle player, Mac McGahey, a long time ago, back in the early 70s. He started playing the super sensitive old fiddler lines, and when I was in Nashville to see him, I always like to carry two fiddles with me on our performances. Have a double fiddle case, and the reason I like to carry the two fiddles is because if a string would happen to break while you're performing on the stage, you simply have to go and get your other fiddle out and play it. That fiddle that I use as my second fiddle is an Antonius Stradivarius copy Anno 1713 fiddle. It's a good bluegrass sounding fiddle. I have another fiddle that I like especially well. It's a Jacobus Stainer fiddle. It's another old German fiddle, but it's a really good fiddle. Of course, as I said before, the desire to play music came from my mother's family when I was a young man sitting on the porch out in Grandpaps. But when I was a young lad, about 6, 7, 8 years old, in the 3rd grade of the middle and elementary school, my mother signed me up for violin lessons. And I took those violin lessons for about 1.5 years, just about enough time to learn the scales and the notes and the timing of the music. I never continued to take the violin lessons. I mainly taught myself from that point on, but the lessons that I learned in the grade school gave me a good basics, or a good basis for the music that I play today. I know just enough music that I can pick up a piece of sheet music and I can read the notes, and so therefore when I read the notes I know the melody of the song, and then I can embellish on that melody with my style of music that I want to play. I want to talk a little bit about how music, I think, influenced my call into the gospel ministry. It was in the early 1970s when the country gospel singers, which of course I've already told you was our family gospel band, and we were playing gospel music in all the churches in 4 or 5 state areas. And without question, I think the gospel music influenced my call into the ministry. Of course, I was born in a very devout Christian family. My mother and father were very Christian-oriented, and of course that rubbed off on all their children. And our love for bluegrass gospel music and the old-time hymns that we used to sing in the church, I think was a great influence on my going in to the gospel ministry. It was a way I felt that I could help spread the gospel, not only in word only, but by music. And I think people who sing gospel music would be surprised how many people they touch and the lives that they have an opportunity to change because of the music they love and play. I've always been thankful that I had the opportunity to grow up in the mountains of western Maryland, where life seems to be a whole lot slower and life is a whole lot more faith-oriented. And there's no question that the deep faith of my mother and my father and our family had a lot to do and was a motivating force in my life. My mom used to always say when I was a young boy, one of my boys is going to be a preacher, and I guess I was that one that she was talking about. The Appalachian Mountains have been good to me and my family, and I couldn't imagine, I couldn't even think about living anywhere else than in the Appalachians in the mountains. Highland Grass has had a good working relationship with the Bluegrass Preservation Society out of West Virginia, and I believe that we could have that very same kind of relationship with the Mountain City Traditional Arts folks from Frostburg. I really believe that working together with Mountain City Traditional Arts to keep the history and the love of Appalachian bluegrass music in the hearts of our people would not only be beneficial to us, but it would be very beneficial to everyone involved. I believe the goals of Mountain City Traditional Art and Highland Grass are basically about the same things, and that is to spread the love and the history of Appalachian traditional music throughout the area that we live in. And I think some of the things that we could work on together would be live performances, and I don't do the booking for our group, but I'm sure that Joe Weinberger, who is the head of Highland Grass, who does all our bookings, I don't see any problem in if our schedule would see fit that we couldn't schedule several live performances with Mountain City Traditional Arts. Also, we have 5 CDs, and I think that on a cost-share basis we could do something with that merchandise together. There's public speaking engagements that we probably could do to tell people about traditional bluegrass music and our love for it. And then also we probably could do several workshops if that would fit into the program. And then of course there's the possibility that we could maybe speak to some of the students who